check out my new Truggy. This thing is bad. This thing's little. Hi, this is CJ with CJatCompRCC.com, and I'm going to be unboxing the Losi 1/24 scale four-wheel drive micro Truggy. This is a ready-to-run kit. Comes with everything you need, radio, even comes with a battery and charger. I picked up 3 additional batteries. You can modify these. They do have brushless motors available. There's all kinds of little doodads for them to make them faster. But there's a point of diminishing returns with a car this small. I bought this for a rather specific purpose. A lot of people would buy one of these just to bash and whatnot. One of the things that I found over the years is that if you want to race, one of the most important things is how much stick time you get. The more time you're driving, it doesn't matter what you're driving, but being out, or indoors for that matter, driving RC cars, that's what develops the consistency, the perspective, the technique, the feel, the judgment that it takes to be competitive. I've got tracks within a driving distance, but it's not like I can go out every day and bump and jump my off-road cars, or I've got a convenient parking lot that I can take over that is swept clean of gravel and whatnot. But I do have a patio out back, and as you can see from the side of the box, these trucks can be raced on a small area track. Now, if I went and bought the higher end batteries, the lipos, if I bought the brushless motor, it rapidly becomes A, pricey, and B, faster than it can really be handled well, especially in a confined area. Now, I'm certainly going to go above and beyond a simple little L-shaped track like this because I got a decent sized patio. This is actually a Losi product that they sell. Basically, these are the same kind of foam floor pads that you can buy at, let's say, Sports Authority or a large sports retailer. Some Walmarts may even sell them. Certainly they're online. You can get them in 24-inch square. I know this because I have a whole bunch of these pads because I used to have them as a floor in my weight room at my old house. They just link together and you could potentially lay out a convoluted track. They don't have to be run on foam. This can be run on dirt. It can be run on pavement. It can be run on a variety of surfaces. Certainly, when you consider the size of these wheels, you're not going to run this in grass. And if you're going to run it in dirt, there better not be large rocks or anything because it will get overwhelmed. But certainly on a small confined track, this thing can be a lot of fun. Losi also makes a couple of other 1/24 scale ready-to-runs. They have, I think it's called the Trail Wrecker. It's a more of a monster truck. And they have 2 other that would basically be in this class. One is a short course truck and one is a rally car. And the main difference between those 2 kits is the bumpers and the body. Otherwise, they're virtually identical. The reason I chose the Truggy is the wheels and tires on the Truggy are a larger diameter. As you can see with the Truggy, the nose is almost behind the edge of the tire. With the rally car, you've got bodywork fairly close to the ground, and with the short course truck, you've got a bumper that comes out in front. The bumper will help scoop the front up, but again, the tires are shorter, and they're also not as wide, so I just thought this would be a better overall candidate for what I want to do with it. And what I want to do with it is drive it regularly. Set up a course, set up something that I can change the corners on, make different track patterns with it, and get out as many times a week as the weather allows, and I can fit it into my schedule. I've got 4 batteries, including the one that comes in. I can charge those up. It takes about an hour to charge each one of these batteries up. And then I can go out and just drive for a while and have a lot of fun and get some good stick time. So let's open this up. And I can tell right off the bat, the biggest box is going to be the radio. And that's probably batteries, etc. And here's our Truggy. Get out the diagonal cutters. Got a couple little wire ties, nye ties holding this down. Okay. There we go. Palm of the hand. And that's a neat little car. I mean, this is something along with a radio. You can pretty much take this anywhere. It's got little dog bones. I mean, it is a four-wheel drive. This is a real RC car. And that's one of the things I liked about this kit is this is not a toy. This is far and above the toy class of RC cars that are out there. This is a real radio control car. I like the bottom battery pack door. That's going to allow the batteries to be switched out quick. And it does have oil-filled shocks. I probably will take those apart and just make sure they're full of fluid all the way. Do tend to do that with stuff. Tinker with it right away. But I mean, as you can see, we've got fully functioning gear diffs, front and rear. And it is full four-wheel drive. That is just, this is sweet. It really is neat. I mean, you order this and you're thinking, you know, it's going to be a little toyish, whatever. You can feel it. This is well made. You can just look at all the different, look at the front suspension. This is very nicely designed. The A-arms, the knuckles. The suspension is very, very smooth. You can just see that that is a real vehicle. They say in the literature on their website that this is based on their 8 series truck, and that may be true in a lot of rough lines or whatever, but there's no doubt. You can just tell by the hardware and the way everything builds together that this is a very well engineered, well thought out little kit, or a little ready to run buggy. I think I'm going to enjoy that a whole lot. And I'm going to show you because I will be getting this thing out. If the weather holds tomorrow, I'm going to be taking this out. They give you the batteries for the radio. We've got instructions. There's a couple of spare, looks like that's a little pinion gear, a ring gear, a little hex tool, a little Allen wrench, some basic directions. Betting this is the charger. Yep. I was going to buy one of these. They did not have them in stock. Just FYI, this little package I just put together here with the 3 extra batteries. Let's see, the batteries were $13 a piece. The Truggy was $109. And I'm going to go ahead and plug the vendor that I bought this from because they're not sponsoring me. I buy from a lot of different vendors. Aiming had a very nice price on this, and I had a $10 off coupon from them. So the truck, 3 batteries, free shipping for an order over $100. So $139 and change later, here we go. And with 3 batteries, I should get a good bit of running time out of this on any given day. And certainly once I've run down one battery, I can always throw it on the charger while I burn down the other 3. Probably a wise idea to let it cool, let the motor cool a little bit, let the speed controller cool a little bit in between runs. So that's I don't know. It's a radio. It's nothing fancy, but I mean that's what you get with ready to run kits. And when you consider the size, let's see, what have we got here? Got min max on, looks like steering, and then I think we've just got trims here. Well, I might, that feels good. There's a little bit of a distance right here. I mean, I'm getting overly critical. I would probably like wrap some tape around this because my finger seems to slip off the brake, but no complaints. Certainly not at that price point. Now, they do offer some other options. For example, there's a replacement kit for the speed controller that would let me drop this radio and use my Spectrum DX4. I'm just going to start with this for the time being. Like I said, I wanted to do this on a lower budget. Let's pop the body clips. As you can see, everything is self-contained. The receiver and speed controller are built together as one unit. Servo is right here. Can't even see the drivetrain. I wonder if there's any, nope, doesn't seem like there's any juice in the battery. There we go. Well, it wasn't plugged in, so who knows if it's got any charge on it, but battery number 4. That door was a little tight, but I'm sure that the plastic will wear in quickly and it'll be nice and easy. I may have pushed on it a little harder the wrong way, but yeah, I mean, as you can see, everything is, I mean, they're very small Phillips head screws, but everything is bolted together. And you can buy the diffs separately. So you can, if you tear up a diff, you can pretty much buy almost every part for this separately. And they do make, I'm not sure if Losi makes them. I've seen people who have put aluminum swing arms on these. I just can't imagine why you'd want to. When they design something like this, they generally think it out and test them out pretty well. Hopping something up like this too much is, it just seems like overkill, especially like going brushless and going with the lipo. You make it so fast you can't even see it run. I'd rather spend the money buying a second one of these for my wife and let her chase me around the track with it, or when one of my buddies comes over and doesn't have a car with him. I'd love to have 4 or 5 of these sitting around. I don't know about you guys. Have any of you ever had video game parties? I used to do a lot of mountain biking, and we used to do evening parties after we'd spend all day out mountain biking, and then we'd go over someone's house, barbecue, and then the Wii would come out and it would be Mario Kart and other video games all night long. Imagine doing the same thing with a half a dozen of these in a little track. At that price point, it really wouldn't be that hard to collect them. And if you don't modify them, they're all equal. Everyone's running the same car. You can get these bodies in black. I went with blue just because, no real reason. I figured that at some point I would probably buy a clear body and do a paint scheme anyway. Oh, these little pins are a bear to work with, especially the front ones. Looks like push down on the nose a little bit in the center. God. Fingers are just too darn big. My wife said the other night, she's like, "You've got paws." Going from this side, it came off easy enough. That is definitely an advantage of having the battery pack go from underneath, is not having to take these body pins off. Now those are stubborn little suckers. That's embarrassing. Wow, that thing is tight. Let's give it a little bit of a bend. There we go. I went through the instructions. That is an adjustable rate for the steering, so the throttle is fixed, but you can adjust how responsive the steering is going to be and what its maximum throw is. That could come in handy, especially if you're putting this into the hands of someone who's not very experienced. You might dial that back a little bit. I think this is going to be a lot of fun just from looking at the kit. I mean, just from, I keep recalling it a kit. It's not a kit. It's a kit if I take it apart and put it back together again. And you certainly can. As you can see, there's 4 little screws right down here. So you can take the diffs off. The suspension, likewise, everything is screwed together. This is not just snap together plastic. It's not some little cheapo thing. I'm impressed. I'm not going to do any mods that don't involve just taking it apart and adjusting it. The shock absorbers actually have threaded bodies, so you can adjust the shocks, and those are very smooth. There doesn't feel like there's any binding. The suspension seems very responsive. This thing's going to be a lot of fun to tinker with and toy with. There's even, wow, yes, there are 3 upper shock positions and 3 lower shock positions. So you can adjust the angle of the shock absorber by moving it out completely. And let's say I moved it to the outermost top and bottom. I would actually lower the car, keeping basically about the same amount of travel because you're keeping about the same geometry there, but it would lower it. It would also change the rate of that spring and damping. Likewise, moving it in, both of those would actually raise it a little bit. I would be concerned about dog bone clearance. I'm going to do a follow-on video of this almost immediately. I am going to kind of take this apart and disassemble it a little bit because this thing is just, it's neat. I wonder if you're going to be able to see those little dog bones and the little out drives at the wheels. It's a radio controlled car, end to end. I'm stunned. I mean, I thought it was going to be neat. I was looking forward to it, but every time I look at it again and look at it a little closer, I'm more impressed. Having the multiple shock positions, that is not something you get on a toy RC car. That's not something I was even expecting to see on the Losi product for something this small. Probably going to have to order another set of these tires. That's another nice thing about this. It's $9 for a set of tires, and that's 4 mounted on wheels. $12 gets you another battery. $9 gets you another charger. If you just want to go out and have an extra RC car to play around with, get yourself stick time on a regular basis, I mean, this is something you can come home from work, go out, set out a few little orange cones or throw a few frisbees down to give yourself some corner markers, and boom, you're driving. It reeks of potential for just having fun. Well, anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. By the way, to everyone out there who has subscribed, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate your comments and your questions. Sometimes I get a little long-winded in my replies to people's questions, but when someone asks me a serious question about a car they have or some aspect of tuning, I try to give them all the information I can. I really appreciate that you regard me as someone that you can trust, that can give you information about things, and I try to live up to that. And I never tell you anything that I haven't researched, that isn't coming out of my personal experience, that I haven't backed up by researching. If I don't know something, I will tell you I don't know it.